Hey y'all, it's your girl Brittany. If you haven't seen part 1 or 2, I will have them linked below. I would highly recommend you go watch those videos before you watch this one, because this is just mind-blowing. Woo, girl. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out the other videos before you watch this. Pause this, go watch those, and come back. Let's get on to it. My friend has been living in an alternate reality. Hi again. My posts to come may be a bit sporadic. Work's got me on my heels, you know how that is. As much as I want answers, I also need to eat. Nonetheless, I've started reading the journal. I'll list the names of people Clint arrived with before I start typing it up. The ones who were still alive at the beginning of the first entry, that is, just to make it less confusing. There was Clint and Russ, of course, and then Duke, MMA fighter, Lauren, archaeologist, Travis, the drifter, Christian, discharged soldier, Hawkins, cosmologist, Cagney, thrill seeker. Anyhow, here we go. Entry 1. I thought I'd write down my thoughts as well as any significant events while I'm here. Now, I'm not sure who this is for, or who's even going to read it, but I might as well do this. My name's Clint Rockwell, and I'm currently in some strange world that isn't Earth. How'd I get here? Well, it's a bit too much to explain here. We've been on Dusk Blue, the island we first landed on, for around 2 months now. That is assuming time passes the same here as it does on Earth. And I think it does, or close enough anyways. Hawkins estimates that the time between days here is around 23 hours and 48 minutes. I shit you not, the guy sat there and counted the seconds one day. He's pretty much gone crazy at this point. I can't really blame him though. This must be fucking insane for him. Besides that, everybody's been pretty nice around here. All seem to be genuinely good people. Once you get past the cultural differences, that is, apparently a handshake here means war. But, you know, maybe there's something wrong with me. For the first week, I was amazed by this place, but after that, shit kind of fell into a routine again. The satisfaction that came from making this discovery had been dwindling. It's just day after day of manual labor, eating gruel, and sitting around. The thing I didn't realize was nobody ever goes outside this place unless they deemed it to be direct threat worth intervening in. Hell, the only reason they'd bother saving us was because we were leading the stalkers directly to them. There's really nothing to do here. However, the stories I hear from the elders were pretty interesting. For example, some time ago they found a dead body lying just outside the settlement walls. Not wanting to stink up the place, some guys carried it away and threw it into some foliage. That night, they heard somebody yelling at around the same place. They found the body. When they checked it out, it was the same dead guy from earlier, except he was alive and didn't have a scratch on him. They didn't let him in, obviously. You see, while shit like this would encourage most people to stay within the safer confines of the settlement, it just didn't have the same effect on me. Shit like this made me want to get out of there. Made me want to explore. I realized that we almost died on the way here, but we were also unprepared. With people who know their way around it, it could work out. You can't wave a piece of meat in front of a lion and expect it to stay in the cage. Alright, that was dumb as hell, and I wish I didn't write it down. But I don't have any eraser now, so I guess it's staying in. Maybe I'll figure something out. Entry 2. An opportunity rose just now. One of the guards here, Grillo, approached me yesterday. Apparently a convoy from Paradise X is coming around tomorrow to pick up any enhanced children. Now, there weren't actually any here, but this was his plan. As soon as they came, we would tell them that we had some. We would lead them into one of the cabins and ambush them inside, while somebody else took out the drivers. I asked him how the hell we were going to do that since they had guns. But we do too, he responded with a toothy grin. That's when I realized. We did, didn't we? Apparently Paradise X goes off the assumption that nobody at any settlement possesses firearms, since gunpowder is pretty much unavailable on the whole island. The reason Paradise X has them is because of the trade deal they do with some other place or something. Now, I've never done something like this, and I don't know if I really feel comfortable doing so, but this seems to be the only way I'm getting out of here. Still, I'm not killing anybody. Rillo also told me not to tell Slade, as it wouldn't go down well with him because of past incidents. Entry 3. Grillo and I have worked it out. He's got 2 other guards in on this. I've also convinced Duke, Christian, and Gagarny to. It didn't take much. They were all itching to get out of here as well. However, Lauren wasn't so sure about it. Maybe she'll come around. Russ said fuck no when I brought it up. And I'm pretty sure Hawkins is actually going insane because he just ignored everything I said. As for Travis, well, he actually seems really happy here. I saw him smile for the first time when a little girl made him a wooden necklace. I'm not going to bother him. All I know is this is happening, and no matter the outcome, at least I've done something few others have. Entry 4. I don't know if we could gauge what just happened as a success. Still, I came out of it pretty unscathed. As for my no-kill rule, well, those Paradise X motherfuckers were horrendous. As soon as they arrived in their 3-vehicle convoy, they started causing shit. Some of them started taunting the townsfolk, while others swept the cabins. I counted 9 of them in total. I think it hit a boiling point when one of them started groping a woman. That's when everything went to shit. I understood why Grillo was so adamant that we do this now. He was actually holding in some pent-up rage for sure. When he saw this, he stormed out of the cabin where we were going to hold the ambush and shot the guy down, who wasn't really expecting it. He took out 2 more before rushing back in, sporting a nasty bullet wound on his thigh. I'm not so sure why he was so good at aiming if he'd never held a gun before. What happened next went by quick. In a life or death situation, all reservations you had about morality go out the window. I took shooting lessons as part of my training beforehand, so I managed to take out a few of them myself. I didn't feel anything when I did so. Things were looking pretty good until Christian blasted one of the soldiers point blank with the shotgun. He barely flinched. He was enhanced. Fucking hell, I remember Grillo shouting. He told us that there was no chance they'd send one of them with the convoy, that they were too important. Well, that was bullshit, wasn't it? The guy went on a rampage, picking people up and slamming them on the ground. Every punch that he threw was fatal. Slade had come out at one point to challenge him, but was dismantled easily. I saw him give a look of somber disappointment at Grillo before going limp. The whole plan was going downhill until Russ approached and shouted at the guy, "Come here, you fucking pussy," was all that he said. I had no idea what his plan was. That is, until he took out a grenade. I guess he'd been hiding that. He took the pin off, chucked it at the guy, and watched as it bounced off him. I guess Paradise X didn't use grenades because the guy just scoffed and started towards Russ. At this point, Christian had already silently been gesturing everybody away from the whole situation. The grenade exploded right as the guy was stepping over it. Everything fell silent for a while. That's when we heard groaning. He was still alive, but he seemed to be incapacitated. A bunch of guys followed up by tossing him out of the settlement walls. I guess all that commotion had attracted something in the jungle, because we heard screaming soon after. After that, we stayed around to help for a while, rebuilding and tending to any injuries. Least we could do. I had to thank Russ for what he did. The guy really had balls. When I did it, he just looked at me like I was insane. It was a fair judgment in retrospect. That was reckless, kid, he told me. I just nodded and asked him if he had changed his mind about coming with us. I doubted it, but it was worth a shot. He looked around the village for a second before sighing and shaking his head. No, I got some work to do. And I don't think I'd be able to get it done wherever you're going. He patted me on the shoulder before walking away. Good luck, kid. I hope you find what you're looking for. Now, I don't know why, but that sentence filled me with a sense of melancholy. I guess it got me wondering what it really was. What was I actually after? Maybe I'm not so sure yet. But that was more reason to go and find out. Before we left, I watched Travis consoling a group of children. I'm not really so sure if us landing on the island did any good for this place. Everybody seems scared now, more than before. Whatever, there's no changing it now. We checked out the vehicles after. I'm not really sure what kind they were. Guess I would have known anyways. It sort of resembled an armored lifted jeep. Eventually we figured out how to get them going. At this point it was me, Grillo, Christian, Duke, Cagarney, another guard named Novex, and Lauren. She changed her mind. Could have been for a lot of reasons, but she didn't tell me. Let's just go, was all that she said to me when I inquired about it. We're all following Grillo now. Apparently he knows where to go. He also stated that he had a plan once we got there. But there was an obvious hint of doubt wavering in his voice when he claimed this. We'll see what happens, I suppose. End of entry. This is how far I've gotten up to now. I'm not really sure what to make of this, but my perception of Flint Rockwell sure has been dynamic. I don't know what to make of this guy anymore. I'll post again when I can. Bye for now. My friend has been living in an alternate dimension park. Hey guys, sorry for the wait. Let's cut to the chase. This is what Flint wrote next. Entry 5. I'm not sure what the hell is going on right now. I'm at the back of the convoy with Lauren and Cagarney, who's at the wheel. We were driving fine. Before we left, Grillo had told us not to look at anything outside of the vehicle, especially not to fire off any shots. There was a 90% chance that it wouldn't kill anything. I almost broke that rule when I caught a glimpse of something crossed against the window right beside me. It had pale skin and a wide mouth that covered half of its face. I just shuddered and ignored it. Everybody else seemed to have the same idea. That was a while ago. However, Grillo just stopped completely, and nobody knows why. You see, the road, if you could call it that, is extremely narrow, and he's blocking everything in front of us. But maybe he'll get going soon. Being out here at night is pretty horrific. I swear, it's been at least 10 minutes and he hasn't moved an inch. Cagarney is getting pissed. He wants to go and see what's going on. Lauren's trying to convince him that it won't end well since Grillo hasn't even stepped out, but he seems adamant. To be honest, I'm close to checking it out myself. Shit. Duke just came out in front of us, holding a rifle. He's walking towards something in front of where Grillo stopped. He's yelling at it now. He sounds pissed. What the hell is going on? Now he's raised the weapon. Grillo just stepped out and tackled him to the ground. They're wrestling now. Cagarney's run out to see what's going on. I need to know as well. I'll write down what happens later. Entry 6. Well, that was fucked up. I got there just in time to witness Duke putting Grillo into a rear naked choke. While he was gasping for air, Duke got up and started shouting again. Grillo was begging for us to stop him between labored breaths. That's when I saw what was in front of the vehicle. It was Duke's copy. The one we'd see during the first days we landed on the island, although maybe it wasn't the same one. Duke was hysterical. What the fuck do you want from me? He screamed at it. His copy just stood there, staring at him blankly, almost taunting him. Don't let him touch it, Grillo shouted at us from behind. I didn't know what to do in that moment, neither did Cagarney. I could see Novex running up from behind us. He seemed hesitant to do anything. We just remained passive observers. Duke was starting to get close to the thing. Very close. It looked as if he was about to throw a punch any second. I turned to see Grillo fishing a pistol out of the vehicle. "What the hell are you doing?" I asked him. He didn't respond. Instead, he just pointed the gun directly at Luke. "Don't fucking do it," he pleaded. Duke just ignored everything. That's when he raised a fist. Grillo got the shot off just in time. Duke's blood splattered everywhere as he fell to the ground. Nobody moved after that. We all just stared in anticipation, waiting for his copy's next move. I saw Cagney slowly inching his way back to the vehicle. The thing stayed put and just stared at Duke's body, but its facial expression was different. It almost looked disappointed. That's when its body started changing. It was hard to explain. I just remember it looking surreal. Its skin seemed to be bubbling, and it was growing taller. Eventually, it started walking away backwards at a speed no human should have been able to move at. As soon as it was out of sight, Grillo screamed at us to get back in our vehicles. We obliged. That's where we are now, driving again. Lauren's asking us what happened, but I don't really feel like reliving it. Cagney hasn't said a word. I'll ask Grillo about it later, I guess. Entry 7. We finally stopped near a clearing. Grillo's gotten out of the vehicle and is signaling for us to do the same. Couldn't tell you how long it's been, but I'm cramping up. I eventually told Lauren what we had saw, but she had no response to it. She's just been staring at her lap. I'm not really sure why we aren't driving anymore, but I definitely see lights in the distance. We must be going the rest of the way on foot. I'm going to talk to Grillo now, see what he says. Alright. It seems he doesn't know much about it either. He's only been told what to do upon direct encounters with it. Apparently, the number one rule is you cannot initiate contact with it under any circumstances. As long as you're in its peripheral view, it can imitate your appearance perfectly. It'll also never attack you, given that you don't touch it first or take any action that may harm it, like running it over. You're just supposed to walk away from it. I asked him what was supposed to happen once you touched it. His response was short and cryptic. That sets it free. We can't have that. I tried asking him what the hell that was supposed to mean, but he just changed the subject. We gotta walk the rest of the way, he said. Can't pull up the convoy, grab all the weapons. This was disconcerting, to say the least, but it looked like I wasn't getting any further answers out of him. I just did what he told me to do. We started heading towards the clearing. Through the brush, we could see the outer limits of the city. There was a big wall, looked like stone, spanning the place. There was also a large gate surrounded by guards. I could also see some buildings peeking out from the top. I'd nearly forgotten about the sound of everyday city hustle at this point. This was a glimpse back into the old world. That's when Grillo dropped the bomb on us. He had no fucking plan. Apparently, he actually used to be a guard for Paradise X. However, he got kicked out for reporting the rampant misconduct his coworkers participated in. Yeah, it looked like this place was beyond corrupt. The other guards would beat, harass, and rape their way around the city with no accountability, and he got sick of it. He only came here for revenge. He was about to kill as many of them as he could before they stopped him. I never had guns before, he said with a twisted grin. They won't see it coming. Look, Grillo's a good guy, but this is madness. He told us that we couldn't go back, that he wouldn't hold it against us. Oh, he told us that we could go back, that he wouldn't hold it against us. The problem was, we didn't know how to get back to the settlement. Novix had a similar story to Grillo. He sure as hell wasn't helping us either. Well, it looks like we could either try and brave it in this shit show of a jungle or hope for the best in the city. This shit is looking bleak. I'm listening to Grillo and Novix discuss the plan of action right now. Everybody else looks horrified. Cagney's got his face buried in his hands. Christian is praying near a tree. and I think I saw a tear roll down Lauren's eye, but I seem to feel nothing. In fact, now that I think about it, I'm actually kind of excited. Is this just a blatant denial of my situation? Or am I actually going insane? Who the fuck knows? The best thing I can do right now is focusing on not getting shot. Apparently they don't use enhanced guards outside the walls. Again, they were too important. However, it seems like Grillo doesn't always know what he's talking about. All we can do is hope for the best. The plan itself was simple. Novex would put on a Paradise X uniform he took from the convoy and walk towards the guards. If he didn't get immediately shot down, he'd open fire. That's when the rest of us come in. With all the attention on him, we'd take care of the others. After that, we'd use the guards' keys to unlock the gates and wreak further havoc. Now, I'm not planning on simply walking around and slaughtering random guards. I wouldn't last a minute that way. I'll hide somewhere, let it cool off, and explore the city. After that, who knows? It's not like I have much time to think right now anyways. Grillo's counting down already. He's got 9 fingers up. 8, 7, fucking hell. Entry 8. I don't know how I keep getting so lucky. I got skinned by 2 bullets, but that was it. I'm hiding behind a dumpster in the alley right now with Christian and Lauren. I don't know where Cagney is, but I know that Norvex was shot dead by the guards as soon as he walked out there. We managed to get rid of the rest of them while they were busy with him. I remember seeing Grillo take a bullet in the shoulder, Cagney in the thigh, and one destroyed Christian's ear. But this time, Grillo was right. None of those damn super soldiers were there. However, we were also pretty much out of ammo. It didn't take long before we heard shouting coming from inside the walls. After we unlocked the gates, where we met with a large statue of some dudes with a hook, for a hand, a bunch of civilians started staring at us as well. Here's the thing. I expected the quality of life in Paradise X to be at least decent. However, it looked horrendous. Everybody had big bags under their eyes, and their tattered clothes barely hung onto their skinny frames. They all looked like disconnected zombies. The city itself looked like a post-nuclear Gotham. There were tons of skyscrapers, but they were foreboding and dirty. There were destitute buildings lining the place, and every street seemed to be cracked. It was filled with what I assumed to be roving police squads, and the amount of people sleeping on the sidewalks was both astonishing and disturbing at the same time. I swear, I saw some dude getting the shit kicked out of him in plain view of everybody, and nobody intervened. Not even the police. But that's probably because they were running towards us. However, they didn't have guns. Only what looked like batons and knives. That's when Grillo went all out. He emptied the last clip of the rifle into a cluster of police before using it as a melee weapon. He was hurling loud, aggressive expletives at them while he did this. God, he really hated this place, didn't he? I needed to get the hell out of there. The last I saw of Grillo was him getting picked up and tossed into a windshield by an enhanced. I ran away from that whole situation until I was about to pass out. Civilians kept looking at us, but they didn't seem to give a shit. At this point, I still had 3 bullets left. I looked back to see Christian and Lauren not far behind. They also looked to be on the verge of puking. I didn't see where Cagney went. That's where we are now, hiding behind this filthy dumpster trying to catch our breath. I don't know what we're going to do next. I don't know what we're going to do at all. I've killed so many people, but I don't really mind, to be honest. Entry 9. Shit. A couple of cops are walking right by us now. We decided to hide directly in the dumpster just to play it safe. My eyes are watering. Lauren just silently gagged. It smells like nothing I've ever experienced before. I'm not sure what I can do. I have a gun, and they don't. I could probably jump out and force them to give up their weapons. Maybe I will. Wait. I just noticed that one of the cops has a tattoo on his forearm. Could it be? Holy shit, it is. It's a Chicago Cubs logo. This motherfucker's from her. Okay, that is the end of part 4. See, what's the question? What do you think is going to be the significance with this guard that has the Cubs logo on his forearm? I will see you guys tomorrow.